Hello, everyone. Welcome to World at War Comics. I am with Mr. Parker Newman. He is the writer and creator of City of Demons. We're going to be talking about this bad boy right here. Parker, it's a pleasure to meet you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show, man.
Absolutely, man. I really enjoyed it. I've actually owned it for a little while. And actually, maybe a month and a half ago, it was actually in a store.
Yeah.
It was in Arizona, and I sent the picture to Frederick because they had, I think, 2 or 3 titles. They had Magnus and I think a couple others maybe. But anytime I see him in the store, I try to hook him up with a picture because he gets excited knowing that distribution is actually happening.
Yeah. Yeah, no, especially since the whole Diamond debacle about over a year ago, distribution has been a lot more. I mean, just wait for the dust to settle when it comes to distribution for small press, independent publishers has been, a big headache to make that transition. But yeah, so I saw that same post actually. So to see it in stores, I think that one was next to Captain America. So it was looked alphabetically. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And I live in North Carolina. And so another cool moment, I went to a comic book shop in Charlotte and I saw it sold two copies of it on the shelf. I was like, nice. Oh, wow. Like that's really cool. Yeah. And so, it's been a really, really cool journey, and happy that people are finally getting a chance to see it. And I really hope that they, take the opportunity to put it on their pull list and really just see where the story goes, even where the territory the story goes to in the future, because it only gets better.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for everyone to read it.
Nice, man. Well, we were kind of talking before we hit record about how you ended up working with Frederick over at WiseAcre. Can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah. So, for anyone that's been following my journey on social media, this will not be a big surprise, but originally City of Demons was supposed to be published under Blood Moon. Blood Moon was a growing independent publisher with a very solid but a very solid horror catalog. And City of Demons was added on. And so the whole process to even get Blood Moon was about a year of shopping the comic around. We had initially the first 10 pages, shopping that around. Then we're like, let's just make a full issue because maybe that would impress more potential publishers. So we shopped that around, and then it just was rejection after ghosting, after this and this. And an email I got from one publisher, I reached out, one of the bigger independent publishers I reached out to. I got kind of frustrated because I thought what we had, the first issue, was really solid and really publishable. And I was like, am I just missing something? Is something wrong that I'm too close to, I'm too close to it. So maybe it's not as good as I think it is. And so I just emailed back almost in frustration, but I was very polite. And I framed it as, hey, what can you help me? Or like, what can I improve on? Like, why did it not land? And the response I got back was essentially saying, oh no, we really like the issue. We actually really like the comic. We like all the materials you set forth, but it's your first comic. Yeah. And you're an unknown, and your artist is an unknown. And, we just don't want to take that essentially a risk right now. And that part just hurt because it's like, so what I've made, like the first issue, that's the product that, myself and the rest of the City of Demons team has made. That's not the problem. The problem is me. And I was like, oh man. So they don't see me as a sell because it's my first one. I'm just so new. But so to go through the whole process, and then you would get some publishers that were really into it, and then I would email them back, and then I would just get ghosted. And, so I was like, I guess that's rejection. Oh, well. And then finally we end up at Blood Moon, and we make 6 issues in preparation to make it a monthly release. Yeah. And then the month we're supposed to publish our first issue, I go on a podcast called Indie Comics and Reviews. And I go on there to promote it for the month it's released. And I remember one of the hosts of the show, Lorenzo, said, hey, have you been hearing about this Diamond, the craziness going on with Diamond? I was like, a little bit. I've been hearing it. Yeah. And they're like, well, is Blood Moon going to be okay? Because a lot of independent publishers and independent imprints and all this stuff are just getting like decimated by it. So are they going to be okay? And I was like, well, I haven't heard anything of them closing up. Sure enough, the next day I email Keith Rommel, who's the head of Blood Moon. I say, hey, is everything okay? I all this. And I think it was maybe 2 days later, but I'll never forget this. One of the roughest, in recent memory at least, one of the roughest days I've experienced, which was I just had a super rough day at work, like not a fun day at all. My girlfriend broke up with me. And later that afternoon, found out that the Blood Moon, I got an email back from Keith saying, oh, Blood Moon is just going to shut down entirely.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, bang, like just bang, bang, bang. And I was like, you felt that sinking feeling where it's like you put so much work into something that you're super for it to feel like in that moment, what was the point?
Yeah.
And you got to start back from square one and find a publisher, which was a painful process.
Yeah.
And like, you have to ask yourselves, like, is this something I actually want to do? Do I love comics enough to do it? And, it's like I tell anyone like who wants to get into comics or anything creative, that's, everything creative almost when you're first starting out is painful.
Yeah.
And you have to understand your why, and your why can't be, oh, I want to be like a comic book celebrity, like a McFarlane or, I think a lot of people, they get this misconstrued perception, like, oh, their first time out, or, they're going to be the next Alan Moore, that name's thrown around like crazy. But your why can't be celebrity. Your why can't be, man, I'm doing this so that maybe one day I'll get picked up on Spider-Man or something, which again, that's totally fine. If I got an offer for Spider-Man, that'd be great. But, my why for why I do that, for why I'm making City of Demons, and all this is because I sincerely love the art of comics. Yeah. I think it's a storytelling medium that when it hits right and is done super well, it has a magic to it that movies can't replicate, that TV shows can't replicate. No other storytelling medium can come close to. And that's why I do it, because I think someone asked me, oh, do you hope City of Demons gets picked up, later down the road? I'm not even thinking this far, like for a TV show or something. I don't know. Like right now, I love comics. Yeah. I'm making this so it can be a comic. I'm not thinking about it being anything other than a comic. When I fully realize and like accept it's like, that's why I'm doing this. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do it. And it's going to be painful, but you just got to you push through. And, something that really encouraged me was later on, I called Keith, and Keith Rommel just kind of vented, I think, for about an hour about just how horrible Diamond was, how mishandled it was, because he closed down Blood Moon because when Diamond, and a lot of independent publishers were this way, when Diamond declared bankruptcy, you just have warehouses full of comics, thousands of comics. Yeah. And he was printing in bulk. He was really pushing it. And so he roughly had, I think it was like 40,000 comics in a warehouse, like 40,000. That's huge, insane number. Wow. Just bleeding money, not being sold, just picking up dust. And so I'm interested because there are City of Demon Blood Moon issues in a warehouse somewhere. I assume there's like maybe 1,000 of these. Wow. But yeah, so they're picking up dust somewhere. I think I saw one sold on eBay. And I looked at the owner. I was like, I don't know who this person is. So I don't know. So maybe someone had got their hands on it. I don't know. Yeah. But it's just been a crazy journey. And then later, the same podcast, Indie Comics and Reviews, I reached out to the guy because when Blood Moon went under, I said, do you know any independent publisher or someone that has been safe from any of this insanity going on with Diamond? And he said, I really don't know, but there's a woman you can talk to. She's like a comic book influencer named K-Pop Junkie.
Oh yeah, K-Pop's awesome.
Yeah, K-Pop's great. And so he connected me with her, and I just told her everything, told her what the comic was about. And she gave me a list of a few publishers to reach out to. And at the very top was WiseAcre. Yeah. And I had not heard of WiseAcre before. I had heard of Frederick Little's before because of Magnus and the connection initially with Godhood. Yeah. That's how I knew of it. And you know, you think about like one of the best things I could give any advice to anyone is you have no idea how anything's ever going to work out in life. There are so many things outside of your control, and you know, it's best to remain optimistic because in a month, a week, something's going to happen to you, big or small, that you never could have predicted. This was a circumstance. Never could have predicted Blood Moon, you know, less than a year after I signed with them was going to be done. I could not predicted that, you know, I go on this podcast that I've been listening to off and on, and then they get me connected to this guy who I had seen at a convention years ago. Like never. And so I talked to, she got me connected to Fred, and then I talked to Fred for a while, and we got on a phone call, got on a Zoom call. And because I did not know if City of Demons was going to be his thing, since City of Demons is a 1920s noir mystery, like hard-boiled noir detective stuff. And I was like, you know, Magnus, I've read Magnus. It's very much not that. Like, it's a good book, but it, you know, it's apples and orange. Yeah. And
for sure.
Yeah. And it's like noir is its own thing. And I just, I was like, I don't know if he wanted to be part of its catalog, and talked to him, and he did. And he immediately, we talked about it extensively, he got it. Yeah. He got what we were doing. He was, again, for anyone who watches this, like you hope your publisher's a fan of the book.
Yeah.
And my initial publisher, Blood Moon, Keith was, you know, good bit of encouragement he gave me at the end on that phone call where he vented was, I was like, well, do you think if, you know, the publisher will pick this up? He said, look, I really like it from all the stuff you turned in. I guarantee you I won't be the only one who likes it.
Yeah. And
so I was like, okay, cool. And yeah, talking to Fred is a, you know, insanely creative guy. He's very aggressive. He's always at conventions, learning new stuff as a publisher, what to look for. And I feel very lucky and blessed that also, you know, another thing that made WiseAcre attractive was talking to Fred, compared to all the other small press.
Yeah.
He did not sign an exclusive deal with Diamond. So a lot of these other publishers went under because they had exclusive deals with Diamond.
Right.
And so when Diamond goes under, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And so he got saved by that. And, you know, because compared to other publishers, I would ask the question, in a year's time, do you think you will be open? Yeah. And he said, oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, like no doubt. The other ones, and maybe to be fair, they were honest, had no idea.
Yeah.
And I tell you, in comics, the direct market, I've been a big critic of the direct market for, I think everyone in comics is a big critic of the direct market. The fact that it hasn't been super, like, I think it's mostly because the Diamond just had a stranglehold on it, but I don't think it's going to really change a lot. Yeah. It's a house of cards. And, you know, Darwin Cook talked a lot about it while he was alive. Yeah. And he's 100% right. It's really flimsy. If, like, for instance, like if next year, this won't happen, but if Lunar decides to, they're not going, you know, something breaks down there, well, we're back to square one again.
Yeah.
And it's, so I've always, but it's been fun. Anyone who wants to make comics, do it, but it's fun, but it's, you have to endure a lot of, I was going to say ridiculousness, but it's not even that. You're just a lot of pain points that, the only thing that can overcome it is grit and and you just gotta love comics.
Yeah, for sure.
I
couldn't agree more. I believe Frederick is working through Massive, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because Massive, and I understand why Luna can't do it, right? They have some pretty big contracts already with a couple of really big publishers. They don't want to take on a ton of indie stuff right away, because then they could put themselves in the same position that Diamond was in. But Massive came in and they said, well, we'll help out and we'll kind of manage the indie side of it. And then that way Lunar's only dealing with Massive. So thank goodness Massive has stepped up, because, you know, obviously they can't take on everything that was out there, but they have taken on a lot. And like I said, I found my version of City of Demons and a comic book store in Arizona. And then in Austin, there's it's called Dragon's Lair. They had it So,
oh my gosh, awesome.
Yeah. So I already owned it, so I didn't buy it. But
darn it.
yeah. I'll leave it for someone else. I'm sure someone got
Yeah.
it. But yeah, so thank goodness for Massive stepping up and doing what they can. So if you are an indie publisher, they are open for discussions, but they have to be choosy too, because if you take on too much, especially really new writers, that's why getting with WiseAcre, where they have 4 or 5 different titles that they're doing at the same time, that gives you a little bit more meat and a lot more to work with, because you do need something regularly coming out on every month.
Yeah,
It doesn't really have to be the same title.
Yeah, and Fred, he's really smart. Like, I could not have been luckier with him, like running the show on that. He's incredibly smart on this. He's been very helpful for printing everything across the board. Super helpful for that. But yeah, so the Massive, he was doing business. So I don't know if it's by luck or by just intentional decision, but he got in with Massive very early on. So he already had a very good relationship with Massive well before Diamond went under. I think he kind of saw the writing on the wall, but so it's been different. It's the unique thing about Massive is there are not many shipments. So for instance, for a lot of indies, maybe it wasn't super regular, but Diamond, if you're a first time indie author, like me, it was like you can maybe get 12,000 shipped. Which again, to be honest with you, financially for independent creators, that sounds 12,000. That's not a good idea. But you're not going to get those bulk orders unless you build up I think maybe a crazy marketing campaign via social media. But that world does not exist for the time, at least for right now.
Right.
Is that good? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because again, I would say the problem was, and Blood Moon ran into this, was you would get something crazy like, oh, we want 40,000 issues of this. Well, these are small businesses you're dealing with. So 40,000 issues, you got to print all the pages for that. And not all of them are, relatively, cheaper side of printing of 20 pages. Some it could be, depending on the creator, 40 or 30 pages. And so those costs go up a lot.
Yeah.
And many times, and to my understanding, Blood Moon ran into this, to recoup your costs back would take forever. And maybe it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And so it just financially, it was just a mess and so mishandled, not on Blood Moon, but on Diamond's part.
Yeah.
And the comic industry right now is in a really weird place.
Yeah, really so. I mean, there's been a lot of consolidation and probably going to continue to happen.
Yeah.
So we'll see, man. I mean, DC's on fire right now. They're crushing everybody.
Gosh. The absolute Martian Manhunter, Batman, they're great. I read this and I'm like, I may not be, to be honest with you, in love with every creative change they've made, but I still greatly respect them. Like, this is so different, and this is so, like, it's a big risk taking. And Marvel, did the Ultimate stuff.
Yeah.
And then, well, they found out, to be honest with Marvel, was that Ultimate Spider-Man at least started off pretty strong.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, mostly because people wanted to see a grown-up Peter Parker married. Like, they want to see him be an adult, which the Amazing line has not been doing that for decades at this point.
And I think a lot of old school Spidey fans want to see Mary Jane and Peter Parker together.
Yeah, like my favorite one that's amazing is J. Michael Straczynski, when it's like a grown-up Peter Parker, he's a teacher.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like a natural progression of the character.
Sure.
And like now he's, because I bought a few issues. I was like, what am I reading? And I don't fault the writers by this at all. Like, J. Michael Straczynski is a great writer, and he was forced to make one day more.
Yeah.
He was like forced to make that. So I don't fault him at all, but it's a horrible story. And so he, but like right now with Spider-Man, like what Mary Jane, I think, had the Venom symbiote.
Yes.
Peter Parker's like still living with Aunt May, and like like he's still kind of essentially a teenager.
Yeah.
And then she's like Mary Jane's dating a guy named Paul.
Yes.
It's like, what are we?
That's a very unlikable character too, Paul. Very unlikable.
It's so bad. And then I read, like, it makes me really depressed because I'm like, oh Lord, like Spider-Man's my favorite comic book character, and I was like, wow. And then I read Absolute Batman,
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, this is sick. This is amazing. And Human Target is another book DC. In my opinion, that's the best book they have out.
Yeah,
Human Target is sick, and Absolute Martian Manhunter is great. I really dug DC's killing it right now. Absolute Batman in particular, the sales wise, is amazing. I have all the issues because I really enjoyed it. I was like, what they're doing here is so different.
Yeah,
and it's cool, and it's, oh my gosh, the art's great, and almost all the renditions of the villains I really dig.
Yeah, Nick Dragotta is incredible, man. That guy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Some of the things that he's drawing, man. Even though I think when the first issue came out, they saw the size of Batman's head, and you're like, what the hell? Now it all makes sense, man. It just
no. I saw that. I saw people on social media like, oh, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, shut up. It's cool. It's a comic. Cool, man. I saw that was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And his cape is like these hooks. I'm like, what? Yeah, it was. And he's his logo is an axe. Like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, Scott Snyder's killing it right now, man. He's in Jeff Johns territory now with everything that he's been able to do with Absolute Universe. And I think Jeff Johns is probably the best writer in the last 20 years in comics, man.
What'd you make of his Doomsday Clock?
It was okay. That's not my favorite thing, but his run on Green Lantern, I mean, it changed Green Lantern forever. Blackest Night is probably the greatest event, I think, to ever take place in comics, right? And I'm 50, right? So I have Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was huge in the 80s, right? Obviously, they've done a bazillion versions of that, but Blackest Night is by far probably one of the greatest events in my lifetime that's been in comic books. Of course, his Aquaman run. I mean, I was
going to say, his Aquaman is sick.
I still run. I mean, his Flash. I mean, he just
his Flash run is awesome.
And then what he's doing at Ghost Machine right now is changing everything. I mean, Hyde Street is insane. If you like horror, Hyde Street is awesome. But Rook Exodus might be one of the best sci-fi things out there. The art is insane, man.
That was the first comic I ever read on Global Comics.
Mm-hmm.
And because I saw Jeff Johns, I saw sci-fi like this. I was like, ooh, this looks kind of cool, And I was like, and to be honest, in comics, we don't get at least in my opinion, we don't get enough really great original sci-fi.
Yeah.
And when I read it, I was like, this is amazing. And the art's cool. But Jeff Johns is really, really good. The one thing with Jeff Johns is simply his run as, when he was trying to get into the film side of DC. That was like a little odd. But as a comic book side, he's like, I agree with you. He's awesome. The Green Lantern stuff is one of my favorite modern superhero runs of all time.
Yeah.
Because it took someone like me who I was not a Green Lantern fan at all.
Yeah.
And it made me a fan of Green Lantern.
Right. Yeah.
And same with Aquaman. And for like those two characters in particular, it was like he took a character that I think most people knew of, but there was not a whole lot of excitement around them, at least during that time. And he comes in, it's like, Blackest Night's awesome. Sorry.
So good, man. So good. Everything about it. And it took Green Lantern from the golden age and just brought it to the future, man, with the emotional spectrums. And it just, it was game changer for me because I've always really liked Green Lantern, and it's really because of Jeff Johns. And so, I mean, I think Jeremy Adams is doing a pretty good job right now. I like all of his writing. To be honest, his Flash run I thought was excellent, man.
I've not read his Flash run, so
you should read it, man. Okay. He really fixed Wally West and brought him back into kind of a more of a family environment. It was cool, man. He just did such a good job. And then his Green Lantern run's been pretty good as well. They just keep trying these kind of big events, and they're doing too many of these big events. So every time there's a big event, it doesn't really make a lot of noise anymore because there's a big event all the time. I mean, Marvel has one once a quarter, probably, right?
Marvel has one for every movie that comes out. It's
exactly.
It feels
it's a little too much, right? And not only that, you're forcing fans now to have to jump around from title to title, and not everybody buys every title. You can't afford to do that. So now you're buying titles you would never buy because you want to try and follow that. And $60 to $120 per event if you get every issue.
I first, well, this is falling. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
This is I first noticed that growing up when Civil War, good Lord have mercy.
I had to tighten the screw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that should be good Lord.
You're good, man. You're
a second. Yeah, there we go. Okay,
Yeah.
That'll be a blooper. So no, but yeah, I first really recognized that a lot of stuff going on when Marvel Civil War, the first one, came out.
Yeah,
and it was a million titles, and the main issue, like sort of like maybe through like one line of dialogue connects to each little thing else, and I want to read all of it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, how's this connect to this?
Yeah.
And it's so expensive.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. And you find out that there's no need for a lot of this stuff to really connect in this massive way. It becomes very clear. With a lot of that stuff, what you point out, it becomes very clear. It's like a cash cow.
Yeah.
And they're just milking you for every cent you could buy from each one of these issues or trades. And again, with Marvel, the big thing is now that every time there's a big movie, they'll make an event that in some maybe thematic way ties into it. And it's just, I don't know. For me, it's just sad that they're basing everything like that on the movies.
Yes.
Whether that just staying the course and staying true to what the comic book reading fans want to get in, want to see. Cause that's a whole thing itself, but
we could do a podcast just that, Parker.
Yeah. Oh gosh, but yeah, it's but DC, but if you do too many events, then none of them really matter.
Yeah, if everything's important, nothing's important, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
and that's always a problem. And good, I think we're all in business in some way, form, or fashion, where we work for someone who obviously is a for-profit organization. So I get what they're trying to do.
How many reboots has DC had?
What's that?
How many reboots has DC had?
They've had quite a few, right? And now I feel like they are doing less of them, and now Marvel's doing more of them. Like we're getting a new issue 1 every time there's a new writer. And, if it gets canceled in 6 to 10 issues, now you're going back to 1 again. And again, that's part of that profitability too, because now it's a #1 issue. You can do a bunch of covers. And so I understand from the business side what they're trying to do. I just think long-term, they need to understand that is not going to create sustainable consumer engagement when you're constantly changing writers, constantly changing themes, constantly going to a #1. And I think you burn people out because they can only afford so much, right? And again, I'm not knocking them for trying. I understand the business side of it, but I'm just not sure. It's like you're trying to make an extra buck now, but you're going to give $2 away in the future because of what you're trying to do. So it's not a good, strong, long-term strategy. And I think it's already biting them a little bit, right? Because now they're in a weird situation where there is another universe that's been created by a competitor, and it's on fire. I mean, we're getting Deathstroke here pretty soon, which is going to be
I can't wait for that. That's going to be sick.
With Tony Fleets too, and I love Tony Fleets. I feel like I'll be honest with you, I love all comics. I read, Marvel, I read DC, but I'm a DC guy at heart. I've always been, just since the 80s. I don't know why, just DC kind of hit me. So I've lived in some really bad times of DC, especially once the New 52 came, and although Scott Snyder's Batman run I thought was awesome in the New 52, there was a lot of things that weren't so great in the New 52. And then obviously they do another reboot. Now they're on, what is it called, Next Up, or
because they Rebirth happened.
Rebirth, and now it's Next or something like that. I don't know, but I feel like they have their footing, and if they could just not try and do too much and just maintain what they have, I mean, they could ride this absolute thing for a few years. It will die down, right? I mean, a lot of the excitement around, well, one, the writing's good. It's super action packed, especially like on the Batman side. Superman is starting to get pretty action packed. The only one that's not really like that is Wonder Woman, but I think Wonder Woman is one of the best written absolute. It's so unique to Wonder Woman. It's almost, I almost like this Wonder Woman more than I do the traditional Wonder Woman in the
really.
because those stories they're all over the place. I think every writer tries to do something new with Wonder Woman, and sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't. So when you look at her history, it's a lot of this, a little bit of sideways this way, back this way. This one right here, being from hell, having kind of those mystical powers. And now that they're starting to bring in some of the other characters in Absolute Universe, I think Kelly Thompson is probably writing, this is her best work in comics. And I'm so happy for her, man. I've had her on a couple times. The nicest person you'll ever meet too. But I'm so happy for her because I think she might have the best Absolute title, just from depth and storyline. Like Batman is awesome, but Batman is a lot of just stupid crazy, which I love. Right. But there's not a lot of issues. There's not a ton of substance. What you get excited about is seeing all of the villains being brought into the Absolute Batman, which is super exciting, right? But he does some crazy things that make no sense for any human being to do, which is why I love it, right?
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. But when I bring up Absolute Batman, it's like I go back to being like 10 years old with a comic where I'm like, whoa, and then he does this. It's like, 100%. Whoa. It's like that crazy moment where, but no, to be fair, in terms of actual character writing, Wonder Woman's like probably a lot better. But in terms of like the whoa moment, like it's Batman. And then
100%,
Martian Manhunter is doing some interesting things, but
I mean, that one is so bizarre and unique that it's enjoyable, right? It's just because it's out there, right? And Dennis Camp is, I think, probably doing some of his best work on that title as well. But I mean, overall, I think what Scott Snyder has done with the Absolute Universe, just in general, people will be talking about it 20 years from now for sure, right? And there's not too many things in comics that you look back and say, I'm a big Philip Kennedy Johnson fan. He's one of my favorite writers, and what he's doing with Hulk right now with Infernal, and then it's going to move on to the last arc of that after 10 issues. It's insane, man. And I think he's one of the best writers in comics. So that's just my opinion. I love his Batman and Robin was my favorite thing at DC that he was writing. If you haven't read it yet, you should write.
I have not read it.
Yeah, because what he's done with Damian, which everybody is trying to do something different with that character of Robin. What he did with him brought him, like, made him human. They brought that relationship between father and son. It's just Philip Kennedy Johnson's so good at that.
Okay, I need to read that thing because to be honest, and this is like the hill for years I've been willing to die on. Not a Damian fan.
I think you will in this one.
Okay,
I think a lot of people have either you really like him because he's kind of just a little prick, but there's a tiny bit of that because obviously you have this history of him being that. But it's so good. They've actually matured that character, and that character is pretty badass by the time you get to issue 30, which just ended a month ago, because with Philip Kennedy Johnson getting the Marvel exclusive, he's done with that. And I think he has 4 more issues of Superman Kal-El, which will complete his arc on his Superman one, which is one of the best Superman runs we've had in a long time. Although Joshua Williamson is writing a really good Superman right now. It doesn't get the love it should. Anyways, there's a lot of good stuff at DC right now, and I'm so excited as a DC fan. And I'm hoping that Walmart kind of figures things out, but I do feel like they're toiling a little bit, trying to find themselves and, gain some traction when it comes to some of these characters, because there's really nothing cohesive happening at Marvel.
No, and it like why that kind of just aggravates me or annoys me is because with Marvel, you have a lot of characters that you could do so many cool things with. Even a lot of the characters that maybe are a little bit lesser known or known, but not super beloved, at least when it comes to comic books.
Yeah.
Like I even think back, I was asked one time, if you were offered a free reign, what's a Marvel character you could pick and write? I said Thor.
Yeah.
I think Thor is a character you could do a lot of psychologically cool things and play with, and go back deep into his history, or Silver Age Marvel, and kind of play with those kind of elements that have kind of been forgotten about. And but I feel like Marvel right now, they were so quick to abandon the Ultimate line, and I kind of understand, because so much of it, in terms of quality, the fan reaction was not pleasant when it came to Ultimate Wolverine.
Yeah,
it was rough. The fan reaction to that was not good. The fan reaction went down towards Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The fan reaction to Fantastic Four was weird, and then even that, which felt like their own, Absolute-esque, this Elseworld sort of universe. Right now, the only thing they can do, in my opinion, that would change everything is you guys take your premier characters, so obviously Spider-Man, and you have to send him down to back to basics, and clean up everything. Because right now, you're right. There's no cohesion at all. Mm-hmm. There's no, from a Marvel side, there's no excitement. The only reason Amazing Spider-Man is even charting relatively well, well in the sales, is because it's Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's Amazing Spider-Man, and you got people. Although I don't have the whole run, but you have a lot of people that have the whole run and they're just trying to maintain it. Joe Kelly, I think, has done a lot better than most writers in the past. His run's not bad, but man, some of those, like I stopped reading it a while ago. I was like, man, I'm not sure what we're doing with Spider-Man. And again, I don't really do reviews or anything like that. If someone else liked it, to each their own. It didn't touch me enough to continue to buy it. But it's been tough over there, man. I hope they figure it out, because there's so many great characters and there's a lot of good writers. I don't know who's getting in the way of letting people do their thing, but you got Phil Kennedy Johnson over there. I know they're going to announce more titles, and I've never read anything I don't like of Phil Kennedy Johnson. Yeah. You have Joshua Williamson now on Iron Man, only 2 issues in, so he's got to kind of set up. I would give him like 5 issues before people start making any kind of decision on whether it's going to be good or not, because Joshua Williams is a very good writer. What he's doing on G.I. Joe is phenomenal.
Okay, I've only heard about that. I've not picked up this G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe is one of my favorite titles right now, man. It's insanely good, and Joshua Williams is killing. And I will say his Superman run at DC is very good. I just think there's so many good things right now at DC. A lot of the main titles in the Prime universe are being overshadowed by the whole Absolute thing, which is great. But I think people are missing a really good Superman run by Joshua Williamson because of that, right? Because again, it's going to happen. Absolute is just taking up all the air.
Or especially Matt Fraction's Batman.
I started it. I'm gonna give it, the first 5 issues like I always do. So far it's been okay though. I've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it because I don't know if this was intentional, but because we already have kind of like the hard edge of like Absolute.
Yeah.
I kind of like this as almost not quite a foil, but it's a nice sort of tonal sort of vacation from that. And so I actually really dig it. And I think I'm really, inspired by that. And because again, the last few Batman runs, like people forget, even in New 52, you have the Dark Knight series, which at least in my opinion, quality wise was up and down like crazy. Yeah. And that's probably my favorite Scarecrow story, but which I don't know if that's saying much, but it does have my favorite Scarecrow story. But like I think right now with what he's done, which is Matt Fraction, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy this run of Batman a lot.
It's good.
I think DC, even some of the side projects, Mark Waid last year when he did the Batman and Robin Year One. Yeah. Who did the art on that? I'm blanking on his name.
It wasn't Dan Moore, was it?
Yes.
It was Dan Moore, right?
Yes, it was. Because I was like, I remember thinking this looks like Darwin Cook, and then I remember
Dan Moore is a magician, man. Him and Jorge Jimenez. I mean, those guys are just next level good. Yeah. And then, like you said, on Absolute, you have like a Nick Dragotta. I'm not sure who else could draw for Absolute Batman except for Nick. I think it was made for him.
Yeah.
Because it's so outrageous and his art is very outrageous. Yeah. Right? And it's just so detailed. The action sequences that he's able to draw is just next level good. What he's doing on Absolute Batman, I think, is very similar to what Nick Klein is doing on Infernal Hulk. Like if you see, especially not in this one, obviously Infernal Hulk is a different Hulk, but in the prior Hulk, before they went to this new arc, Nick Dragotta's art when Hulk transforms into Hulk, some of that art is just insane. You can see the pain that they go through that. It's insane, man.
Why do you think at Marvel historically, and maybe it's just the character so interesting, but I would say to be honest with you, the most consistent comic series they have going over there has been Hulk and, in my opinion, Daredevil.
Yeah,
in terms of relatively consistent quality. And Hulk is always fascinating to me because he's always been well known.
Yeah.
But it's like, why do you think that character in particular has allowed, like, what about that character has allowed for different creators to like consistently bring pretty high quality stuff to it?
Yeah, it's a good point. You have like Peter David, who just
oh gosh.
So Peter David is, I mean, how long was he on? 10 years on Hulk? 8 years on Hulk? It was a long run, right? And so when you have someone who is consistently good on a run that long, and you have writers, I mean, nobody wants to follow a Peter David, right? Nobody wants to follow a Scott Snyder. No one like some of these writers, you don't want to follow on that title unless you're going to bring your A game. So I do think because it was so popular, maybe Marvel spent a little more time and maybe a little more money on writers for that. Because it's had some pretty good writers. I'll be honest with you, Ryan North and what he's doing with Hulk Smashes, it's only 3 issues in. That's really good too. Okay. It's a lot of fun, man. Like issue 1 and 3 are bangers, man. Issue 2, my little bit of setup wasn't that exciting, but man, so far that run has been really good. So I don't know what it is about Hulk. I think also there's a lot more freedom with that character because although you obviously have a history that you need to pay attention to when you're writing that character, it's also Hulk.
Right.
And Hulk is crazy a lot of the time. So there's so many different things that you could do with Hulk from a horror standpoint. Then he's a gangster in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You do all these different things with Hulk. So there's a lot more freedom to tell different stories where fans won't go up in arms. But if you put Batman in Vegas as a bouncer or as a mobster, right, people are going to lose their mind because that's not who Batman is.
Right.
I do think there's a lot more freedom. So even a writer that maybe isn't at the Peter David, which I'm not sure too many people are anyways, you just got so much freedom. You're going to make some fun stuff with the Hulk, right? He could be in outer space. He's like, you could do anything you want with that character, whereas other characters are more defined by their history, like a Batman and a Spider-Man specifically, right? You got to be careful what you do with those two characters. And when you do make major changes with Mary Jane and Peter, you start to lose a lot of that core audience. Trying to grab a small, newer audience, you lose a big portion of your core audience.
And you do that for decades.
Every week, right? Or every 2 weeks when it comes out.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. For right now with comics are at in general, from like specifically like the big two, I always look at, I always look at Superman. Yeah. Because I think that's a good test to see like where DC's at, because Superman, I think too many people, they see, perfect guy. Yeah. And they try to add their own twist and really overcomplicate something that does not need to be complicated. Like again, with Superman he's an emotionally healthy superhero who wants to do good because that's the right thing to do. Yeah. That's Superman. Like you don't need to so an absolute Superman started twisting some things around. Yeah. And initially I was very mixed on it. Yeah. And then I sat with it more. I kept reading. And I was like, okay, but this is still very clearly Superman.
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
Remains that, that core identity there. I was like, hey, that's great. Yeah. And I read something, I read one of the more recent Captain Marvel comics just out of curiosity. I was like, oh my goodness. And then I read obviously Spider-Man and Hulk always, again, what I mentioned, Hulk surprised me because this is solid. Yeah. And then I read Spider-Man. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I kept reading more. And again, when you have those core characters as your litmus test for how each company's doing or the trajectory, you're 100% right. DC is by far and large. Yeah. This is, I think, going to be one of their all-time best eras. Yeah, the way it's going. I mean, because you have people with not sponsored or anything, just talking about it. Yeah, freely talking about it on social media, just anywhere on social media. They're just talking about all the absolute line, all this and that, and have you seen the new issue pop up? New art for this issue just come, and I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. For Marvel, I've not. The biggest thing you'll see from them is, we got Hickman doing another Secret Wars, and Hickman's super talented. Yep. but they kind of have them to be, in my opinion, like kind of Ryan stuff where it's like very much cash grab. Like, oh, a new comic, Spider-Man. Was it like, what was it? It's like a play on Brand New Day.
Yeah.
it's like a weird sort of tie-in. It's like, what are we like? Hickman's writing this?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. And so
I agree. Yeah. And we'll see what happens, man. I'm hoping that things get a lot better at Marvel. I obviously bringing Philip Kennedy Johnson on, giving him an exclusive contract, bringing over Joshua Williamson, I think is smart. Mac Fraction, I think that change on Batman is going to be healthy. So yeah, I think they're doing things to try and turn things around, but I think they have a little bit more way to go. And again, with Batman or Absolute World in general, but Batman specifically being so popular, I mean, it's bringing in people that really weren't reading comic books, and now they're reading comic books again, right? And so, and that's what we need, whether it's Walmart, whether it's, I'm sorry, I'm in the grocery industry, so I was working all day. So, whether it is Marvel or DC, as a comic industry, we need both of them to be very strong.
Yeah.
Because they kind of lay the foundation for everybody else. Like no one's going into a comic book store only to get, boom. They're just not, right? But if they're going in and get their Spidey or they're getting their Batman and they see an awesome title by boom, they're going to pick that up, right? So we really need them to do well, and I hope they figure it out because the strength of the comic industry really depends on it. And thank goodness that Scott and DC have done what they've done, because I think it's been really healthy for the comic book industry. It's bringing in people that never go into comic book stores back into comic book stores, and that can only be good, whether you like it or not, man. It's going to help the industry. So yeah, I hope Marvel kind of figures it out. I think they're really trying. But again, when you have such a successful MCU, which obviously hasn't been very successful the last few years, but they still, they're trying to tie too many things into things that are coming out. And I think they just need to focus on really good storytelling with the core characters, right? You have to have a good Spider-Man. You have to have a good Iron Man, a good Thor, a good Captain America, a good Incredible Hulk, right? You got to have those characters really banging. Once you have those tied down, then you can start to do other things like big events and stuff like that. But they're trying to do all that when some of those titles just aren't doing that well. So I feel like they have a lot of work to do. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, man, at least we have indie comics, because I do think it's a golden era for indie comics. There's a lot of really good small press stuff that is coming out. We were just talking about WiseAcre. I mean, Magnus is a really, really well done comic book.
Yeah.
And so that's obviously the Superman of the WiseAcre universe, and that helps all these other titles like yours really get into the hands of readers. And when they read them, man, like I said, I've read City of Demons. It's really good. The art's really good. It's kind of a touching story. The way that you ended issue 1, like I got so many questions because it ends in tragedy.
Yeah.
And, I'm just like, damn, what's next, bro? What's next, man?
Yeah. I remember because what was DC just they brought back their what was that line they just brought back? I'm blanking on the name.
Oh, Vertigo.
Yeah, I'm so hyped about that. I love the Vertigo line is some of my favorite comics, or some of the best comics ever made.
Yeah.
I mean that's that's if you want to know, like, for anyone, like what comics could be and can do, really, like Vertigo, like those old Vertigo books are mind blowing.
Yeah.
So super hyped about that because I saw that post on social media. I was like, they brought back Vertigo. Why did it ever leave? I don't know. So, but anyway, yeah. But thank you for all those words about City of Demons. City of Demons. So, I was really nervous about for City of Demons was the first issue is really more or less a character piece about the main character, and so I knew that was going to be a risk because you get a setup for like the general atmosphere, the tone, the world, and at least, and the end of it in terms of the overarching mystery. Yeah. The end of that issue is the inciting incident for the mystery. Right. So and you're still left in you're still left in the dark of like, what exactly is going on? What just happened? And then you get to see that event later on through other people's perspectives. Oh, okay. But yeah, so what I really tried to do for issue 1 was, I remember when I first writing it was establish essentially the comic's identity as this is a super character centric comic. And the way we're going to do this is you need to be bought into these characters more than almost anything else.
Yeah.
And what I've been very proud of and really happy to hear is that a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
have so far really liked that way as the first
Sure.
issue, and have really liked that, you know, by the end, they're like, man, I really bought into Lucas. Like, I really feel for this guy.
Yeah.
I really connect with him. And, you know, you already kind of see the type of person, quickly see the type of person he is. And
Yeah.
one of my favorite moments in it so far in the first issue is where his partner, Detective White, asks him, he says, like, so, like, why'd you even become police officer?
Yeah.
Because it's clear that Lucas, in a very short time, he's just kind of jaded. You know, he's just going with what he's told.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot of ambition left in him.
Yeah.
And he says,
It's stuck out of him, right? He's
Yeah.
drawing that.
yeah, he's like, you know, I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
And so you have a character who's in a world, you know, where, you know, he's a black man in 1920s, where he's in a place that doesn't particularly care about him a whole lot.
Yeah.
And he's in a point in life to where, you know, he doesn't particularly care about himself a lot either.
Yeah.
So, and so when he's thrust into a journey where, I don't think this is spoilers, but he thrusts into a journey where he has to confront evil.
Yeah.
And so, and him and the other characters in the book, or his partner who you meet in issue 2, Lawrence Kay, who's a private detective. These are two men with really heavy pasts who, when they're confronted with evil, are then forced to kind of find humanity within themselves,
Right.
to push back against that. And so it's really, again, a story of a lot of like finding, you know, sort of, you know, inner strength or power within yourself to fight against something that feels so much bigger than you.
Yeah.
And I really can't wait to really dive in. Like, hopefully, I can't wait for you to see, but like, a lot of the greater mystery and the dark secrets of early Hollywood that is unveiled.
Yeah.
Because what later becomes, again, this is already the synopsis, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything. Lucas joins up forces with a private detective, Lawrence Kay, who I describe as a man out of time. So he has long hair. He really doesn't care about how he dresses.
Yeah.
You learn more about him, and so they're hired by a mob family who is in control of a lot of the Hollywood studio system to find a serial killer. And during this whole thing, the mystery, you know, starts off as who is the serial killer to you're finding out motive, and you're discovering the motive, and through the motive you find out who the killer is.
Right.
Because as they go through, you find out a lot more about sort of the dark underbelly of 1920s Hollywood, and you know, a lot of the, you know, it very much clearly ties into a lot of the situations we've heard of recently with like Harvey Weinstein, to be honest with you, like the P. Diddy situation, where a lot of the stuff, a lot of that content, like a lot of the casting couch and all that kind of stuff, has existed in Hollywood since the beginning.
Yeah.
And that was the sort of thing I wanted to look at. I love history. I'm a big movie buff. And so those two just came together naturally. And when they discovered, you know, a lot of these secrets, and they, you know, have to traverse all this, and they have to question alliances and all sorts of things, it gets messy very quickly. And yeah, the stakes keep getting raised, and I can't wait for you to read it, because I'm very proud of all the work we put into it. Different sort of or different comic book content creators around Instagram and whatnot, TikTok. We've shared the first 8 issues, and the reason I chose to do that instead of just issue 1 is because simply no one knows who I am. Yeah, no one knows that a comic exists. So in terms of just straight up like why do that from a purely marketing side, I have to, because we're independent. It's not good enough for us to just tell people we exist. Right. We have to let people know, please put this on your pull list, because the overall journey of this, at least through 8 issues, is really good. Right. And we have to sell people on that this is actually going somewhere really cool. Yeah. And the reaction and the, you know, feedback I've gotten has been very, very positive. I'm very happy with the way it's been received.
For sure. You should be. It's good.
Yeah. And so I can't wait again for you to, I was going to say meet, but like at least read about all these upcoming characters. Because
when are we going to get issue 2, you think?
So issue 2 is going to be released in stores 25th of this month.
Nice.
So we're releasing every other month.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it makes sense.
And so I can't wait for issue 2 is when you really get into the overall, you really introduce the bigger and larger mystery and the underground, the mob family stuff. So that's when you really, because issue 1 is simply main character.
Right.
You get them on, like at least as a writer, get the audience on their side, and they're your vessel to go through this whole thing with.
Yeah.
Because if you're not bought into the guy you're kind of in the ride along with, then that's not really, then it's not going to work.
Right. Yeah.
And I tell you, it's very happy, so proud with how it's been turned out. The art from Kingsley is awesome.
Yeah, Kingsley's killing it, man. The grayscale, I love grayscale.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share just one of my favorite scenes right at the very beginning of issue 1.
Yeah.
You can just see how amazing the art is. They're in World War I, right? This is going in the past a little bit to kind of understand the background and what this character has actually been through. It also probably explains a little bit of how and why he is who he is. That on top of everything that you mentioned earlier, being black in the 20s, being a cop, maybe not being given all the opportunities because of that others are being given. And then just you've been begging for more for so long and not got it. You just end up almost you're okay with whatever they give you, right?
Right.
Or fighting you because it's been drained out of you. But man, the character development is really good as well. And this was a lot of fun, man.
Thank you. Yeah. And I was going to say there's when we first were developing City of Demons, my initial idea for the art style was simply, I was simply just going to do, and these are all the 4 main characters. Yeah. Lucas in the bottom left is obviously who you meet in the first issue. These other 3 characters, the top one on the left is Harry Boyle.
Mm-hmm.
He runs one of the crime families that used to have power in LA and now it's kind of, bomb feeder in a way.
Yeah.
They mostly have power through parts of the police department and local businesses. Next to him is Marcus Sullivan, who's the newly appointed head of the Sullivan crime family, and his family is controls the Hollywood studio system, the early Hollywood studio system. And on the bottom right is Lawrence Kay. And so you meet the 3 other characters, Harry, Marcus, and Lawrence in issue 2.
And I think you sent over an image from issue 2, right? That I could share.
Oh, all over the place. Yeah, you can share whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah. Just so give people a little taste of what we could expect in issue 2. But this right here.
That's actually an image from much later on, but it does tie in directly to an event in issue 2.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's a nice feed. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, the art is great, man.
Yeah. I had to remove I got an earlier one so we didn't spoil anything. But yeah.
These are the ones you sent me, bro. I hope I didn't do anything I wasn't supposed to.
No. You're good. No, that's 100% good. Because, I made sure to get an earlier one without the lettering so we didn't spoil anything. Because that's that's actually a big turning point in the series. But yeah, so it's been, when making it, I originally, thought it was going to be pretty much Sin City style, which only hard blacks, hard whites, and that was it. And Kingsley comes up with this grayscale, and it's so much better than what I had in my head.
Grayscale's so good. When it's done right, it's amazing.
And his art's super readable. It reminds me of kind of a mix of a little bit of like The Walking Dead, early Walking Dead, and with kind of some of like the hard jaw lines of kind of like an early Frank Miller. So I like it a lot. It's super readable. It's clean.
Yeah.
I think a big drawback for a lot of readers when they read black and white is they immediately think cheap. And this, I'm happy it does not look cheap at all.
Not at all, man. Like I said, grayscale could be really good or really bad, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Right? But when it's really good, it's very good. So I love it, man. I thought everything came out really nice, and I'm really happy for you, man. I'm glad that there's distribution out there. I could attest. I've seen it in 2 different stores in 2 different states, Arizona and Texas. So pretty awesome. And then just to kind of show everybody where you could get it if you don't see it in your local comic book store, what I would suggest, though, is that you go to your comic book store and let them know that City of Demons issue 2 is coming out on the 25th. Please make sure you order one of those for me and then put that in my box. Once you put it in the box, that makes that owner of that comic shop have to reorder it every single month. So if it's a comic shop that currently doesn't carry this item, which is very common for indies, this forces them to bring it in for you. And the likelihood of them, maybe because you ordered it, bring in 1 or 2 extra copies to put on the shelf is much higher than just taking a chance if they've never seen anybody interest. So if you really want to have some fun with a great noir, this is an awesome title. So get out there and talk to your comic book shop, but make sure you tell them, add it to my pull list. Once it's in your pull list, they're going to order it, man. And the likelihood, like I said, of them ordering an extra copy or 2 to put on the shelf because you ordered it is great. And that just helps out, someone like yourself and other indie creators. But if for some chance you're just having a rough time, here is, and I have the link in the show notes. Hit this link and go right over there, right on the first page. You can purchase it right here as well. And then you can see all the other things that WiseAcre produces. They're one of my favorite indie publishers. Like everything they produce is amazing. Meadows is another kind of, it's a little bit more mystical, a little bit more magical, but still kind of a noir. Critical Ops Task Force is your, like, I don't know, G.I. Joe / X-Men is pretty dope. And then Magnus Jakuda is just phenomenal, man. Really good comic book. So there's a lot of really good stuff that they have over there. Crisis is another one, which is really good. Kind of a Deathstroke / I don't know, ninja / Daredevil kind of a character. But they just have some really good Dark Sentinel. But City of Demons, and I can understand why he wanted to pick this up, because you are a genre that he currently didn't have. And it's, obviously Frederick, such an intelligent publisher. He's like, oh, that would fit perfectly in my portfolio of genres, because I don't currently have anything really like that. So this right here, man, if you pick this up, I think you're going to be extremely happy, man. This is cover A right here.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I love that cover, because when I've been and maybe I'm just biased, but it does stand out when you see it on the comic book wall.
Right.
It stands out, and Kingsley's so great. Those line effects he's able to do, you just see a little bit right there. That's one of my favorite pages.
Yeah, the close up of the eye. That's insane.
Golly, but yeah, it's very happy with how issue 1 turned out. The journey to get to this was insane. But yeah, happy to get distribution. Happy the reaction that I've gotten from people has been so positive.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. Please put it on your pull list, because I promise you, like, if you liked issue 1, you'll definitely go and love issue 2, and so on and so forth. Because where we're taking the series for the eventual climax, I'm super excited about. I don't want to spoil anything, but we have really cool things cooked up. And I will say I've talked to 16 people when I was first kind of showing the early scripts around, and just getting people's opinions on what can improve and whatnot. Only 2 people. Fred was one of them, by the way. Fred was one of the 16, but he did not get it. Only 2 people have been able to identify or correctly, I guess, guess the killer.
From issue 1?
Well, no, from the other issues.
Oh, like, damn, that's impressive.
So I was going to say, later on through the mystery, you're going to see a lot more clues are given out, and to see people follow that and see what deductions they can make. I just can't wait, because I really am happy, and we worked at it forever, make sure that it was fun to sort of play guess who did it, who didn't do it. But again, this is a series that, in my opinion, succeeds or fails based on the characters we have. And I think we have 4 at the heart of this, 4 really strong characters that are just a lot of fun for me to write. And I think are going to be a lot of fun for people to read. And I've heard from many people that if you really like Lucas, the next character you're introduced to in page 1 of issue 2 is actually a lot of people's favorite character.
Really?
Lawrence K. They actually think that he's the best Ren, which I still say Lucas, but I'll let them do that. But I can't. Please put on your pull list, because you won't just be disappointed at all.
Agree, man. Agree. Well, Parker, man, I hope you come back again, man. Even if you want to just come on, we can just talk comics, man. It'd be a lot of fun.
Dude, I would love to do that. Yeah, let's do it.
And then when issue 2 comes on, let's have you come back, because then we could dig more into some of the depths of issue 1.
Right.
That way, issue 2's out. People have had enough time to read it. I will say one more thing that is pretty cool is if you are on Global Comics. Let me pull it up real quick. It is available there too.
Right.
And so if you do have, if you are subscribed, you can read it. And as well as all the other WiseAcre characters. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick just to show you all. I'll put this link down there as well, so that way everyone can check it out. Bear with me real quick. Boom. Right when you go there, just type in City of Demons. It'll pop up and you can start reading right away. But over 1,000 people have already read this comic book, which is absolutely amazing. So you're killing it, man. On Global Comics, at least, a lot of people have read it. I'm glad that you're getting distribution. You should be getting distribution because this thing is a lot of fun. And I'm stoked for issue 2, Parker.
Yeah, dude. I can't wait for everyone to see it. You know, again, this has been a big passion project. A lot of people have asked me, it's like, so what do you want to do next? And I say, I'm not thinking about that, because City of Demons is going to be essentially my life, comics wise, for the next year, next 2 years, actually. So because 12 issues every other month. And again, it's a series, and I think you can tell from the first issue, if you actually give it a chance and you read it, you will dig it. I do think we're tapping into something actually pretty special.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't wait. And I'm so happy with how everything's been turning out, like if I said before, but yeah.
Right on, man. Well, I'll have everything in the show notes. Everyone get over there. Go to your comic book store. Make sure you put this on your pull list. Parker, thanks for hanging out with me today, man. I really appreciate it. And it was such a pleasure to get to hang out with you.
Definitely. Sweet. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Everybody else, thanks for watching, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody.
See you.
See you.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.